Hi boys and girls, how's everyone doing today? I have another read aloud for you, and this one is super important and it's really fun, and I think you guys are all going to enjoy it. Now, our read aloud today has to deal with history. And, when we think about history, what are some things that we think about? We think about our land, where we come from, where we are, our presidents like Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, but this read aloud focuses on someone else. This read aloud is a very important female figure in our history that had shaped the way this country has worked ever since she's been around. Now, the United States was founded many, many years ago, back in the 1700s. And does anybody know the exact date that the United States was founded on? If you thought 1776, a long time ago, you would be correct. Now, this woman, she lived her life during the same time that the United States was founded, and she did something so impactful and important for this country, and it was so important that it is still around today. Does anybody know what it could be? I have a riddle for you to help you figure it out. Let's take a look. I am made up of 3 different colors. The main part of me is red and white, but a portion of me is blue with 50 small shapes, each with 5 points. I can be high or low, but never on the ground. What am I? All right, after that riddle, does it make any more sense what this item could be? It is red and white, and it's blue as well, and there's 50 small shapes with 5 points. Now, can you think of a shape that has 5 points? Can't be a square because that has 4. It can't be a triangle because that has 3. It would have to be a star because a star has 5. So, it's red, white, and blue with 50 stars. What could it be? Okay, boys and girls, hopefully you figured it out. The red and white stripes with the white stars on the blue background. It is the American flag. All right, boys and girls, so there we have it. The American flag is the topic of our read aloud. And the woman who created the American flag, Betsy Ross, her full name, Elizabeth Ross, she went by Betsy. She created this American flag as a symbol of the new country, which is the United States of America. So we are going to dive into this read aloud, but we're going to start with our picture walk first. All right, let's begin. Okay, this is the picture walk for Betsy Ross by Becky White, illustrated by Megan Lloyd. Okay, we just finished our picture walk. Now we are going to start on this read aloud. Now keep in mind, from our last read alouds, we paused on words that we did not know so we can figure out what they meant. So keep your ears peeled and hear any words that you don't understand, and that will be our vocab words. So make sure you pay attention and let's start. Betsy Ross by Becky White, illustrated by Megan Lloyd. Betsy ripped. Rip, rip. 7 rich crimson stripes. Boys and girls, we just came across our very first vocab word of this read aloud, and the vocab word is crimson. Are there any context clues in the sentence or on the pages that can help you define the word crimson? 7 rich crimson stripes. Now let's look at the pictures. These stripes are all a shade of red. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So those are the 7 stripes, and they are crimson stripes. So the word crimson must mean a shade of red. So boys and girls, with our very first vocab word, we learned a very important aspect of our flag, and that is that the red stripes are crimson. Let's continue on. Betsy clipped. Clip, clip. From a silk slip, 6 strips. Betsy snipped. Snip, snip. "13 stars. Zip, zip." Betsy dipped. Dip, dip. Indigo dye. Drip, drip. Boys and girls, on this page we came across our second vocabulary word, and that word is indigo. Do any of you know what the word indigo means? The word indigo is a shade of blue. It's a very deep, very rich shade of blue, and let's see on the previous pages what is indigo. So going back in the previous page, Betsy dipped. Dip, dip. Betsy is dipping the fabric into indigo dye. See, that is a white piece of fabric. She's dipping into a bucket of blue dye, which is indigo. And the indigo dye was dripping. So she was creating the flag from this blue dye. Now that we know 2 very important colors of this flag are crimson and indigo, let's continue on to see how Betsy finishes the flag. Betsy pinned. Pin, pin. You can see Betsy's pinning the white stars onto the indigo background. Ring of stars therein. Betsy stitched. Stitch, stitch. Stars and stripes, inch by inch. Betsy grinned. Grin, grin. Old Glory whipped in the wind. All right, so our last vocabulary word was on that last page, and it was the phrase Old Glory. Now, does anyone know what Old Glory means? Now, keep in mind the sentence went, Old Glory whipped in the wind. Let's look at the picture. Now, are there any context clues either from the illustration or in the sentence that give you the definition of Old Glory? The sentence says, Old Glory whipped in the wind. So, from the context clues, we have concluded that Old Glory is another name for our American flag. So if you replace Old Glory with the American flag, it would say the American flag whipped in the wind. So the word words, Old Glory, is a synonym for the American flag. Boys and girls, that concludes our read aloud about this American flag and how Betsy Ross made it. Now let's review what we learned. Betsy Ross started from scratch on this American flag. She cut out all of the fabrics and she dyed them with two vocab words, crimson, which was the red stripes, and indigo, which was the blue background for the white stars. Now that we know the colors she used, what did we learn that the stripes and the stars represented? Now, since there were 13 red and white stripes, those represented the 13 original colonies. That is still the same today on our new American flags, our modern American flags. There are still 13 red and white stripes, but the only difference today, there is no longer a ring of stars, like our book said. The stars we have today are 50 of them. But back in olden times, in the original American flag, like Betsy Ross made, there were only 13. There were only 13 stars on the American flag to represent the 13 original colonies as well as the stripes. So that concludes our read aloud, and that concludes our little introduction into the American flag and a history background. So I hope you enjoyed it all, and I hope that you learned something new about the American flag and that you learned that Betsy Ross made something in 1776, and we are still using it to this day because it's that important and that it's that meaningful to this country. So I hope you enjoyed this read aloud, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.